Hey everyone, welcome back to another monthly webinar during our 12-month Shed the Weight Challenge, releasing those things that no longer serve you. Thank you so much for joining me again tonight. These webinars take place on the 7th of every month. And this month, our topic is the non-weight bearing status. Now, you know how they say everything that you go through in life, it's for a reason. It's to help others, not necessarily for you. And so the non-weight bearing status is really about you taking time to be still. Sometimes, and this is what happened to me, that time is forced. Many of you know last September I fell and fractured my left ankle and left the operating room with a plate and a few screws. But you know something that I really, and this topic is just so emotional for me to talk about, but I realize that confinement makes us appreciate the most minor things in life. And during my recovery, I learned this more intensely than I could have ever imagined. As I navigated 2 months, yes, you heard me, 2 months of a non weight bearing status following surgery, I found myself secluded, isolated to my bedroom, which forced me to confront weight, both physically and emotionally. So, remember the first month we talked about the weight that we hold? And in case you're wondering, yes, I am standing up on my 2 feet. I'm still in physical therapy, but I'm getting stronger and stronger every day. But during that period of stillness, I came face to face with patience, self compassion, and really the power of mindset in ways that I really had not experienced before. Additionally, I personally rested like I never, ever did before. The end result was my mind, my body, and my soul were in alignment. Sometimes growth requires us to pause, to be still, mm, and even feel helpless. Whew, before moving again. So, I want to set the stage for today. You know, we talked about mindset last month, and I really want to just set the stage. I personally have learned that mindset is literally this muscle that I have to keep flexing. In the early days of surgery, being unable to move freely around, I felt like a burden to my friends, to my family, because I always thrived on being independent, being busy. And suddenly I was forced to slow down, to sit still and depend on others. In those quiet, confined moments, I began to recognize the mental weight that I was carrying. Remember, this challenge is all about shedding the things that no longer serve you. My need to constantly be productive, to constantly be achieving something was weighing me down. Facing weight in a period of stillness allowed me to see how heavy that thing was, how heavily it impacted my life more than I could have never imagined. Recently, I was talking to a physician, and I was kind of, explaining to them like what that 8-week period felt like. And I'm going to share with you. During that 8-week period, I slowed down, entering an ECMO like state, suspended, sustained, and given the space to heal before moving again. Now, at this very moment, I'm sure you're thinking, what in the heck is a ECMO? Some of you may even be Googling what ECMO is. ECMO, extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, is this procedure that they do when the body has been traumatically injured and the body needs to rest and heal. So, this machine, this ECMO machine, literally takes the blood to the outside of the body to this heart and lung machine. It exchanges carbon dioxide and oxygen, and the blood kind of goes through this process. This ECMO revelation for me was powerful in that I hadn't considered my need to constantly be busy as weight. But in my forced stillness, I could truly see how my need to be busy was actually exhausting me. The confinement literally helped me recognize and overcome my own unrealistic expectations of being on the go. During my 8-week period, I had, oh my gosh, so many opportunities to start new projects. And the old version of me would have been all in, right? I would have been sign me up for all of the projects, but I declined them all. And let me tell you, the dollar amount that people were willing to pay me do things was money that I needed in my bank account. But I said no because I consciously decided to embrace this journey so that I could heal mentally, physically and emotionally. Mm. You notice that there are some quotes that are coming across the bottom of the screen. These were the visions, the revelations that I was having during this entire process. Now, one of the things that I've really come to understand is the importance of having what is known as an anchor of strength. So, if you've never been on a cruise before, when the boat is at sea and they don't want to move anymore, they throw out the anchor, right? And so the anchor is strong enough to keep the boat staying right there in position. In your life, you need someone who is your anchor of strength. During my recovery period, I reflected on the importance of an anchor. For me, that anchor is my grandfather. He today, not as in today, like it's his birthday, but right now, March 7, 2025, he's 104 years old. His life is a testament to endurance, dedication, and the unwavering commitment to service and family and community. And he's been through some things, let me just tell you. But his example of how to navigate this thing we call life, it inspires me, especially when I needed strength or when I need strength. Reflecting on his life, I'm reminded that resilience isn't just about getting through the hard times, because Lord knows there are some hard times that we all experience. And sometimes we don't want to admit, that we're struggling because we're always trying to be so strong. But it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to feel weak. Resilience is about navigating those periods where you have to be still with grace, humility, and purpose. His life for me it's a beacon of hope and inspiration, encouraging me to face all of my challenges with courage and determination. Now, as I was navigating my recovery period, I had to take small steps to get back to being able to stand. Now, I'm standing before you here today, but if you ask me to stand on one foot, I can do so for a little while. In fact, that might be the longest I've been able to do it. But if I try to do it on my left foot, I can't even get balanced to do it. And so, one of the things that I really realized, and it was really a humbling moment as I was beginning home physical therapy, I was struggling with literally pumping my ankle. Now, I know you probably are wondering, I don't understand what she's talking about, but I'm literally setting the stage for something that you really need to understand about you. So just stick with me. So I'm trying to do these ankle pumps, right? And one day I was laying in bed and I was struggling to move my ankle, and frustration quickly built up. And for a moment, I felt I felt defeated, as if this tiny simple movement was out of reach for me. But then I remembered something that I taught you last month, which is the power of mindset. So, you know what I did? I covered my foot with a blanket. In particular, it was my Chicago Bears blanket. And I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath and I started to move my ankle. This small victory reminded me that mindset isn't just about positive thinking, it's about summoning the resilience to try again and again and again, even when progress feels impossible. That slight movement sparked something inside of me. Mm. My inner voice, my inner growth motivator mindset literally kicked in. And while my body was healing slowly, I realized that my mindset could still be active, resilient, and supportive, even when I wasn't making the progress that I thought I should be making. Because let me just tell you, I said to myself, I said, self, you're 51. You should be able to bounce back like that. But I couldn't, because my body was experiencing atrophy, which I'm getting to you in a second, but I had to lay this foundation. Mindset can make or break you as you move from season to season in life. You must be willing to embrace whatever journey you're in and just give up all of the desires to be in control, to control the process. So I want to talk about a few things, but first I want to give you a definition of atrophy. Atrophy is a decrease in size, wasting away of a body part, a tissue, or an organ due to something, a reduction in the size of a cell. And it occurs when cells or tissues are not getting the proper stimulation, nutrients, or blood supply, leading to deterioration over time. There are several factors that can cause atrophy, but in my case, it was because I wasn't able to use that body part. In fact, for several weeks, I had to hop. I had to hop to every step I needed to take. And it's so funny because now I don't even know if I can hop like I was hopping. At one point, I was doing like a little small wedding march. And by this time, I realized that there was a message in this experience that I was going through. Many of you have allowed your gifts, your talents, your desires to be atrophied. You've made it so that you can't use them. And let me explain to you what happens when you don't use something. It's easier to use it than to let it waste away. I know you're thinking, that's not me. Uh huh, that's you. There are some things that you have been wanting to do, but you haven't done them because you are afraid. You feel that you don't deserve to do the things. But I'm here to tell you what I experienced as a result of falling and suddenly not being able to walk for 8 weeks, then to spend another 8 weeks going through physical therapy to build my strength back up. It's easier to use your talents, your skills, and your ability than it is to try to regain the strength. So I want to end by talking about finding strength in vulnerability. Finding strength in vulnerability involves embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. It's about fostering resilience through self awareness. It's looking at the setback as a lesson rather than a failure. And as we already know, building that growth mindset allows you to focus on learning and improvement. Now, you probably are wondering, why was this webinar titled The Non-Weight Bearing Status? Because sometimes you need to, number one, remove some things that are no longer serving you, but you need to go after those things that you really, really, really want to do. And you can't do that until you take some moments, weeks, days, months of forced stillness. When you're still, you can think clearly. When you're still, that's when your creative juices come out. See, many of us are being held hostage by these. We are allowing social media and other things to literally suck the life out of us. But some of us are doing it to ourselves because we're afraid to get off the couch. We're afraid to make the call. We are afraid. Mm, you are afraid to take that first step. You see how I'm moving around? It's because I'm not taking for granted being in a non-weight bearing status and being on the other side of it. So today, I want you to take a moment and think about what is the thing that is holding you in a non-weight bearing status, or what do you need to do to put something in a non-weight bearing status. Trust me, when you sit still, you can come to some realizations about some things, about some people, about some situations like never ever before. So I want to give you an activity because I really want you to I want you to walk away with something. And this activity is a resilience inventory. Okay. And you can take out your phone, open up the notepad, whatever the case may be. But I want you to reflect on your strengths and identify areas that you need to grow in. So, first, let's talk about emotional. You have to acknowledge the process and manage your own emotions healthily. What do I mean by that? Putting some things in a non weight bearing status, meaning some things you need to get rid of, it's emotional. And you have to acknowledge that it is emotional. Mental. Am I staying focused? Right? Am I reframing my negative thoughts? And am I adapting to change? You know, I'm living proof that life kept on going throughout my entire non weight bearing status. The trips that I had planned, the conferences that I had planned, they all just kept going and going and going, but I was sitting still. And so I had to reframe my thoughts. Let's think about physical. And I want you to really think about each area. Are you caring for your body through rest, movement, proper nutrition? And let me just tell you, it feels so good to be able to move like this because I couldn't move like that before. So, emotional, mental, and physical. I got four more for you. Do you recognize that you have this past, but the past shouldn't define your future? That is the historical perspective. Comparative. Are you comparing your journey to somebody else's? Ooh, they got kids. I want kids. They got married. I want to get married. They finished school. I want to finish school. Oh, they making all this money. I want to do all of that. Are you constantly comparing and measuring them against you? This is your journey, your race, your pace. But are you holding on to something that's preventing you from getting there? Procrastination. Hmm. Hmm. Do you avoid the things that you should be doing that you know you should be doing? Hmm. Hmm. And lastly, are you committed to you? Do you follow through on your goals and stay accountable for your growth? Or are you letting things, people, and situations holding you back? Some food for thought. Well, guys, this is the end of the March webinar, the non weight bearing status. I will see you next month when we start to really dig into, and hopefully by then, you have the thing or things that's holding you back that you are ready to put it on the table and allow yourself to move forward. I'll see you next month.